This druid kicks ass, man. Hey, would you mind showing us off this druid real quick, dude? There's so many people trying to build shaman druids that have no idea what to do, and you were the king of the king with shaman druids, man. What's the secret to this build?
Well, since mine is hybridized, what I do is I max Armageddon, I max Volcano, I put 1 point to Fissure, I put 20 into Molten Boulder, and once I'm 99, I'll have a max synergy for Firestorm.
So this is a build where this is a druid build where you actually want to get to 99.
Yes, that's correct.
That's crazy. That's
Yes.
crazy. Most druids stop at level 94 with their wind druids because that's when you can get a point into bear and you don't need a helm. Like, you know, you can. It's crazy to see a druid build where 99 is the goal.
It's definitely challenging. I always just 1 point Cyclone Armor. It's not the best, but if you can see here, it absorbs about enough for an FOH tick or a lower hybrid trap sins trap.
Oh wow, dude!
When
we were looking at that, dude, I thought for sure, I was like, there's no way that Cyclone Armor is eating up too much damage, but that's actually quite a bit. Like over 300 damage is what that's eaten up. So that FOH would have actually done quite a bit of damage without Cyclone Armor.
Oh, exactly, yes.
Wow.
Aside from that, I like to do 1 point Werebear and 1 point Shockwave. It can catch certain classes off guard. It's something you don't really use in most matchups, but versus like a Necro or a Hammerden, specifically a pure Hammerden, like not a mage or another hybrid version, though most are nowadays, it's quite successful for me. Aside from that, 1 point Oak, 1 point all summons except for the Grizzly Bear. I like having the Grizzly Bear maxed.
Okay, so this is something that a lot of shamans don't do here, or a lot of fire druids don't realize. Why do you put so many points into the bear?
I really like the bear's swing radius, and in particular moments, if you're being chain locked, like by an aggressive chain or somebody can do it like 3 to 15 times in a row, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It can actually knock them out of their chain and swing on a stomp as well. If I happen to stomp somebody, occasionally he'll actually time the swing as I stomp. So you'll deal damage just by landing on them very briefly. And also, since he has a high range, it's almost like he has a two-handed weapon on, like a pole arm or something. So you can be just outside of range of them and he'll still hit. So it's pretty useful to have, and especially versus something like a Hammerden, like I was referring to with the Shockwave build before.
Yeah.
A good strategy is to just recast the bear on top of yourself in southeast west walk.
Yeah.
And as they land to stomp you, the bear will hit them in conjunction with Armageddon.
Oh my
and you
God.
can just stay in Werebear, depending on the build of the person, obviously. And versus like characters like a Necro, like if I were to like swap out all of my elemental charms, either half of them or all of them, and then put on a summon Grizzly Pelt, the bear will actually clear bone armor and maybe do damage past the bone armor and overlap.
So, dude, what I see that your gear is really based on like damage reduction here. Is this what you use for all setups, or do you have gear swaps?
I have a couple of gear swaps. I generally run 163 fast cast rate now,
Yep.
I will always either have a Suicide Branch or a Wizard Spike. I wish this was ethereal. It's like pulling teeth finding one. I don't want to buy one, you know. But aside from that, like I like to use a Flickering Flame versus Necromancers or a Purist Hammerden.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'll throw on Akira's. Here, I can show you some of the stuff in the stash that I have on swap. So like versus a Blizzard Source, for instance, having like a higher cold res helmet than Akira's, since my Akira's isn't quite perfect, but even if it was perfect and I put like an in it, I feel like it wouldn't still attain the same level. You can hit 104 cold res with 2 Thuls and an Altars, so I really enjoy that. And I have this Flickering. It's not the best, but
Wow.
It does the job for what I need it to.
Wow, dude.
And,
Yeah, when you said Flickering Flame, I wasn't even thinking on a druid helm with like Armageddon, Volcano, Fissure would be ideal. But holy hell, dude. I actually didn't know that had a legitimate place in a PvP build, dude. That is solid.
Oh, definitely. It's very useful against other fire characters as well. Like, I'll slap it on if I need the extra against like an Auradin, or if I'm fighting a Fireball Sorceress, it's especially useful. If you use that in conjunction with Water Walks, you'll hit your 85 breakpoint.
Wow.
And at the same time, you'll have the aura. And it's really useful for the minus damage that they provide. This is the Summon Grizzly pelt that I generally use if I'm doing the swap I mentioned before with 5 or 9 Summon GCs, which I have all right here.
Oh, wow.
It can be quite useful. And I have the Wizard Spike here. Generally, that's for any res character, but also for like, in particular, Paladins, if they decide to use Conviction Aura, that can be my my bonus for Lightning Resist for FOH.
There's some really cool gear swaps with this, man. Do you have a Phoenix over there as part of your shields too, or even a J-mod with...
This
Oh,
is,
no.
this is my res setup, yeah.
Oh,
if I happen
shit.
to need it, yeah.
Yeah.
I generally only pull those out against BM players. Like, I'll use this against an
Yeah.
Arden, or if I have like a Javzon wearing like a mercenary with conviction and they're following people around and trying to BM, throw that on. And
That's
you know the
nasty.
deal.
You gotta be ready for all the BM, dude. You gotta be ready for
yeah.
it all.
Exactly.
That's amazing, dude. I love this build, man. Hey, thanks for showing it off, my dude. This was that was really cool of you.
Of course.
We've
anytime,
seen this thing absolutely wreck people, myself included, and we've always wanted to do a deep dive on it, man. I appreciate you showing it off, and congrats on the win, buddy.